What's the best CRM for your real estate business? In episode 41 of Mega Real Estate Talk, we're going to dive into just that. What is a CRM? What's the best one to use? Let's go.
You're listening to Mega Real Estate Talk with Jared Davis and Galen Parker, your source for an honest, insightful look into Central Virginia's real estate market. Combined, Jared and Galen have over 20 years sales experience, as well as hundreds of testimonials from clients past and present who rely on them for advice and assistance when buying and selling homes in today's incredibly hot and competitive real estate market. And now, your hosts, Jared Davis and Galen Parker.
I am Jared Davis.
And I am still Galen Parker.
How you doing, best friend?
I'm doing fine. Man, I'm happy to be back in the studio with you.
It's been a bit, I feel like. We did the last episode, EXP Explained.
Yeah.
And now we are trying to get into the 40s, episode 40s, 41.
I love it because I think we were talking to someone the other day, and they were just like, you always say that you're still Galen Parker.
I know.
And,
when are you not going to be?
But they
Galen
loved
Parker?
it. Like,
Yeah.
he was like, I love that. He was like, that's unique. And I'm like, yeah. It's because I feel like every time I'm introducing myself, I'm like, I'm still the same guy, guys.
Somebody gather. Somebody at the office. I forget.
It was either Shane or one of those guys. So, still here, guys. What have you been up to, man?
House is getting built. I don't know if we talked about that last time. My
Nice.
basement is poured. They're plumbing so that we can get the slab poured. I closed on the loan, so I'm poor.
He's going to have a full indoor pool in his basement.
yeah,
All right, that's not right. That's not true.
yeah, they're pouring the slab. I'm poor. All the things.
All the boards happening. Other house news.
Our flip.
That
right?
flip's done, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Mike, insert a round of applause noise after that.
Under contract. Hopefully it closes out. We should be
That is-
closed by the time
yeah.
you listen to this, but deals are just going crazy these
Off
days.
and on. Yeah, I know. I'm in the midst of some deals where I'm like, oh, we're teetering. So
It's going to be our best flip of the year for sure, though. It's a good
the
one.
best flip in Richmond of anyone. No, I'm sorry. That's not true.
I mean, it's probably up there for profits. That works out.
Super excited about that one. Every time I think about our flip, in my mind, I hear you say fantasy brown granite. It just makes me laugh because I'm just like, fantasy brown. I'm like, that was my nickname in college. So in case you guys were wondering.
That's right.
Fantasy brown. I also, this is little detective work. So you guys know I lost like in a very extremely expensive pair of Ray-Bans.
Oh, I didn't hear about this story.
I looked at the video of us doing Best Friend Team Up #1, and I'm wearing them in that video. And then I think what happened?
Do you leave them in the Porsche?
No, because he already looked in the Porsche, and they're not in there. I think I left them in the house,
Oh.
and I think someone showing the house or going in the house took them.
Did you check the drawers in the kitchen?
I did. I went back over there and checked.
What about
That's
that
what I thought they
closet?
were.
The closet.
I'll go back over there again, but after that, I went through the closets. I went to the drawers. I went in the sinks. I'm like, where in the world could these things be?
I remember seeing those glasses when
That's what I thought. So I went back there. So my only thought is someone saw them and was like, yink.
I mean, good detective work on checking the video.
Man, I'm so bummed.
they're around somewhere. We're gonna figure it out.
I'm really hope so because I mean I got shout out to Steve McClenny, came through with his military discount, helped me out, and we bought like the exact same identical glasses. So
Didn't even change it up. Just one.
no, you don't change up on perfection. So I'll just sell one of them if I can find the other one.
Ah, there you go.
But that's cool. But here's another thing that me and Jared, as you guys know, we're connoisseurs of fine food. And we took to the streets of Richmond
Cuisine connoisseurs.
for the Battle of the Animals.
Yeah.
Explain to the people what I mean by that.
So if you're in Richmond and you like good food, I know this is a podcast for everybody, but we went to a place called Cocodrillo, which stands for crocodile.
Crocodile.
It's a high-end Spanish restaurant off of Libby and Grove. We ate there and it was delicious.
Loved it.
But then, like, the following week, we were talking to somebody, and they were like, have you had that fancy Spanish place over off of Libby? And we were like, yeah. Of course. It's
We loved it.
great. And they're like, yeah, Cañejo.
Like,
And I
no.
was like, no, I think you're pronouncing it wrong.
You
It's
got to roll your tongue.
Cocodrillo.
Cocodrillo.
And they're like, no, Cañejo, it's another one that's off of Libby and Patterson, a block over.
Oh.
That means rabbit. So they have two fancy Mexican, Spanish
Unrelated
cuisine.
Spanish
Unrelated.
cuisines.
Like a
Are
block
these people
apart.
like cousins or something like that?
It's
Not that we're
crazy.
aware
So
of.
they both opened. So we went there back to
Crocodile
back
versus the rabbit.
just to try it. And
Put
so
that in the below.
it's delicious.
They are both amazing, very knowledgeable server, bar staff.
I mean, I had steak, we had pupusas, we've had tacos, we've had, all kinds of stuff. All the homemade salsas at Canyejo were great. The starters at Cocodrillo were great. The cocktails at both were great.
The one thing that we didn't have at both those places?
Dessert.
True.
Espresso
martinis.
Did we not get an espresso martini?
Not either place. They sent us out. Me and Jared are on a nice espresso martini kick. If you guys are interested in that, feel free to jump in that. We've canceled mimosas.
We're drinking a lot of espresso martinis.
We've canceled mimosas. Those no longer exist.
Yeah, why aren't we drinking espresso martinis with brunch? And then people have the nerve to be like, "No, an espresso martini. What are you like?" I don't know what the connotation.
Yeah.
Like, what is the connotation to an espresso martini? I'm always like, "Do you like coffee?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you like alcohol?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, how would you not love this?"
If it was in a different glass, they'd probably feel
as if mixing champagne and orange juice is way more manlier than a espresso martini. They're like, I drink a mimosa. I'm like, sparkling wine and
Fine.
juice.
Drink your
Cool.
tomato juice and oyster juice and pickle juice like a savage. with your
Us
Bloody
highbrow
Marys.
fellas.
That's right.
We'll be drinking
So, which
martinis.
out of the two restaurants, which one was the best?
Man, that is a tough one.
I
don't
liked
know.
Cocodrillo better. That's what I would go for.
I like
Atmosphere.
both great, but
I like Canyejo felt younger, aside from like the elderly gentleman at the bar that were assaulting everyone. But Canyejo has it's a younger palate. Cocodrillo is a more established palate, so you can taste the difference. I felt.
But that wood oven in Cocodrillo smelled so good.
It did smell good. So
making all the stuff.
I'm happy to go back to both places 8 times more.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for all the people that aren't in Richmond that had to listen to us
That just drooled.
had to talk about food that you'll
Pros and
never
cons
eat.
of coming to
Unless you
Richmond.
come to Richmond, you want to come hang out with us, feel free.
We're happy.
Help grow your business. Deep dive?
Let's get that deep dive on.
All right, so this deep dive does not, I repeat, does not have a fade. So you tell me when you're ready to end it.
All right,
right.
let's see how long it lasts. Let's see how long I stay interested.
Okay.
Cut it, Mike. All right. I like it. Fade me out, but I like it. It's a good one.
Very nice.
Gets me excited. So,
I love it.
today's topic, the deep dive. Mm-hmm. What real estate CRM is the best?
What's the best?
So, to start, if you're brand new and you're just like, what the heck are you even talking about? What is
What is this thing you keep saying?
what's a CRM, Galen?
So CM is a customer retention management system that you should be using. Now, yes, you could use Excel. You could use Google Docs or Google Sheets.
A paper.
A marble.
You could use
one of those
a
little
notebook.
notepads, the MEAD notepads. You can use all those things. I would challenge you to say that even if you are very successful in using those things, you would be even more successful if you had a good CRM backing you. And so we're going to talk about what they are, why we should use them, which ones we use, what's the best, and some of the features of a high performance real estate CRM.
Yeah, so if you're a brand new agent and you're not on a team that offers one, or you're not at an office that offers one, you may just be saying, do I even need this, right?
Yes, you do.
That's the quick answer. We don't need to spend most of the time.
Cancel the show.
Yeah, yes, you need a CRM. But it's amazing how many agents we talk to on a daily basis that say, like, no, I'm not using a CRM. I'm just, like you said, I plug everything into a spreadsheet, and now I've got this list of numbers that's 200 long with names, and I try to keep notes in there, and that's insane to me. No follow-up, no whatever, no tasks, no anything, just an Excel spreadsheet. Or they're like, I keep it on paper, and I just take notes, and I erase, and I cross through, and I add, and all that stuff. So essentially, it's built to be able to organize your business and be able to keep set of your tasks, right? You can set follow-ups. You can have all of the people's contact information. A lot of the times you can they're compatible with your outside websites with lead routing, but we'll get into that. Galen, let's throw them out. Some CRMs.
All right.
What are the big ones?
So the top ones that you'll probably think about: Follow Up Boss, Chime,
It's a big one now.
Sierra,
Yep.
of course, KV Core.
Yep.
We used to use Boomtown.
Yeah, they were like the dominant party back in the
and
day.
so those are like some big ones that you're. And there's obviously, if you can Google, there's gonna be some more. I feel like those are the big ones that you come across a lot.
Yeah, I guess like what is it, Firepoint? You see that sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a couple out there, and then there's some smaller ones that maybe aren't as real estate related or can handle different things too. Like we use CRM Grow for some stuff as
Yeah.
well. But the big one that I would say, Chime seems to be happening heavily these days, and then I hear a lot about Follow Up Boss, hear a lot about Sierra. KV Core they actually give us with EXP, but we technically don't even use it. We use Sierra. But if you're looking at EXP and you don't have a CRM, you can look into KV Core. They actually give it to you as part of the package. Why do we use Sierra, Galen?
So we were at Boomtown. We moved to Sierra. A lot of it has to do with maintaining or just managing, your leads effectively. Because the problem with just like a notepad is that how do you manage inbound leads that come from lead sources? How do you keep them engaged? And what are some of the features? And so your notepad doesn't have things like drip campaigns.
Yep.
It's obviously not going to be able to be partnered with like ancillary software, like third parties. Like we've got ours that's partnered with Ylopo.
All right, so hold on. What's a drip campaign?
So a drip campaign kind of takes you out of the equation, but still keeps your clients engaged. It drips to them. So, at an interval that you decide, whether it's every month or every week or whatever you choose, it comes as an email or sometimes even a text to you to just kind of pique the interest of your lead. So it lets them know that, hey, I am still there. I'm Galen Parker. They're going to get a picture of me, an email, a follow-up, things like that. A lot of it, in my mind, is to provoke a response.
Yep.
Right. So if you've got on your pad of paper, 1,000 leads, and that doesn't tell you like who's on the website.
Yep.
Who's favoriting pictures or who's favoriting stuff like that.
You're jumping in all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
right
So
now.
it's like your drip came kind of tells you like what's going on so that I can interact.
So one thing you'll want to look into when you're shopping these CRMs then is what kind of drip campaigns are there, right? Because some of them come loaded, right? Like
Yeah.
Boomtown was one back in the day where they actually had a lot of...
And I loved it, yeah.
They had a lot of templates and a lot of things that were already in Boomtown. Boomtown was very expensive back in the day. I don't know how their pricing has changed at all with everything else coming out, all the competitors.
So as competition grows, your price has to go down.
I feel like it does, but see, something like Sierra gives you the ability to build out your own, and most of them do give you the ability to build out your own. We use Sierra because there's a separate coaching company out there that actually gives you access to all of their plans, and so we use their action plans. But you want to look into it and say, well, one, are there drip campaigns? Two, does our CRM come with drip campaigns? And three, if it doesn't, then is this CRM compatible with outside drip campaigns with companies that work with these companies? Or do you want to take the time to sit in and build your own? See, like a drip campaign, for example, for us, we may have a forced registration lead drip campaign where if we don't get a hold of this lead, we can put them on a campaign, and the first day it's going to send them a text and it's going to send them an email. And then if they don't reply, then the next day it's going to send them another text and another email. Then it waits maybe a couple days, it sends another one. But ultimately, this drip campaign will go on for a year. So even if we've made our calls, we haven't got a hold of this person, at some point, 2 months in, they may get an email or a text, and it may be time. And then when they reply and say, yes, I am actually looking, you get a priority alert. You know, hey, I got to go back in and see what happened. What did this person say? And then it stops that drip campaign. But again, like Galen said, it helps you be able to not have to necessarily bug 1,000 people all the time, especially people that you weren't able to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Lets you get them on a campaign, then hopefully convert later. So a notepad can't do that. You can only go in
I
and
folded down this page. Notepad is good for hot lists, though. And I think a lot of times agents confuse hot lists versus CRM. Those are not things, and you should not use them the same way. You will fail miserably.
There you go, on the camera, hot list.
There you go. That's
I wrote
Jared's
it,
hot
I wrote it.
list.
This is all the listing appointments I set up last week, and I was forgetting names and addresses and just everything. So I just took all the notes because I was like, yes, it's in my CRM, but I like a piece of paper too, so that I can look at it every day and know what's the hot.
Yeah, I'm still a digital guy, so like I've got hot lists on on my phone. I took a page out of another realtor's thing, especially if you're on an iPhone, pinned conversations. So it's like I can pin like my top 9 people that I've had an interaction with, and I can easily every day just check them and see like, all right, any movement there. Their messages are like first to get response because they're the top. So
that's another thing with the CRMs is most all of them have categories for the people, so you can keep them in qualify and hot and,
priority.
Whatever, qualify, active, pending, close. If you have just paper paper or Excel, it kind of gets a little hard. I don't care how good at color coding you are in Excel spreadsheets.
I just think that's awful to look at.
I mean, so it's one of those things. As you move people through, then you can start classifying. Hey, I want to look at my people that are just active. I want to look at my people that are pending. I want to look at my people that I need to qualify, and then I can make a game plan, right?
Yeah.
What about lead routing?
So I like lead routing for you and I, because we're managing a team, we're managing groups. It allows us to look at an individual agent and just say like, all right, do you get this type of lead or that type of lead? Yep. How many leads do you get towards a go around? Some agents I've got like an independent lead source that all those leads get routed just to me. It helps you kind of manage and then also track to see how different lead sources are kind of performing.
Yep.
That is very important, because if you're an agent and let's say you're using Facebook or Google Analytics or using any one of those lead sources that feed you, you want to be able to route those. But also, as you mentioned earlier, you can set up different drip campaigns and action plans for the lead specific, and that is critical.
Yeah, so most CRMs are going to do this in some capacity, but again, as you're looking through them and weighing your options, you want to find out, do they work with all of the third-party providers, right? Because if you're just getting leads sent to your email and then you're having to go in and manually input every single lead into your system, it's a lot of work, right? But most of these systems, they set up essentially lead routing where you can connect to Zillow or Realtor or whatever you're buying leads from, homes.com. And as they email in, they're automatically going to drop into your CRM, and then you can create rules for who gets said leads, right?
Yeah, which is brilliant.
And then we have things like ponds.
Ponds are good. I like ponds because they do this. So every team manages them differently, but essentially a pond is a collective space where guys like Jared and I, we can just put leads, and then agents can go in there and just fish them out as they see fit.
Yeah, so what happens if an agent doesn't call their leads in a day?
So on our team, if you don't call your leads in a day, those leads get taken from you, and then they're put in a pond.
But the CRM takes.
Yeah.
We don't take.
We don't have to pick them. The CRM just does a wash of them. I just hit start, and they take them away. Then other agents who are hungry can call them and start working on those. And so that's super nice on our team as well. If you've called a lead once, but you haven't put in a follow-up action plan in a week, so it's like you attempted it, but you didn't do your 5 other phone calls, well, then the CRM will take them from you again and assign them to someone else. And a lot can happen in that first week, that first phone call, because I've looked in there times and you had one phone call but no follow-up, and then I look at what the lead is looked at, and they're like 37 views, and I'm like, that's a hot one for someone to take and get them on the phone.
Yeah, so again, you'll want to check with your CRM when you're interviewing these people and find out, do they have lead ponds? If this is something that...
Especially if you're a team lead.
If you're a team, right? If you're solo, you may not care. But if you're a team, you may want to find out. And then how are they routing to your team, right? Because some of them will let it actually run dialers, and they'll call an agent, and then if that agent doesn't answer, then it'll automatically go to the next agent. And so it almost just round robins until somebody picks up the phone. Sierra, I don't believe does that, but it does allow you to round robin the calls. So if I want to have everybody getting, 10 agents getting 10% of the leads, every single lead, it's going to go to that next agent. It's going to email, it's going to call them the second that lead comes in for them to dial. But if they don't answer or dial, they still get the lead technically. Yeah. But I think some of the CRMs actually won't even send it out. It'll actually rotate to the next person.
For sure.
Until someone answers. So you want to check your lead routing options as well.
I love it.
That could be something that's pretty big. What about outside softwares?
So we mentioned YLopo for us that we use.
We do use YLopo. Yeah, works very well.
That is a great outside software, and you have to do your research on that. But one of the things,
or reach out to us. And we can talk to you about it.
Give me a call. Let's talk about it. One of the things I like about that is that they've got artificial intelligence. That artificial intelligence really takes a firm hold of what goes on. It tracks, showing requests. It helps you with all of those things. Keeps them engaged. It sends them your lists for new houses based on parameters that you can create in their system, and then it pairs perfectly back with your CRM. And it'll even show you on the back end more information of what they saw and stuff like that. So outstanding.
Yeah, and that handles our Google, it handles our remarketing, it handles social media advertising, all of that stuff is all routed in.
I was just thinking, I had a funny thing about the remarketing yesterday. So I registered a new client who's a sibling, and I guess he didn't look at the email, But since like Ylopa had already had his email address and stuff like that, they basically put an ad up, and I think he saw it on like Facebook.
Nice.
And he clicked it, and it was like, so and so has been triggered through the remarketing. I'm like, I just signed him up. I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, so now I'm like, you are officially in the web.
Yeah, so that's a separate software outside of CRMs, but if you want to reach out to us privately, we're happy to show you how it works and tell you. And if you're interested in Sierra or KV Core kind of specifically, since we're kind of in both of those, feel free to call us or email us or comment up as well, and we can walk you through it, get you a meeting with those guys, see how we can help out. But one of the last things I was thinking about is about half of the CRMs that we mentioned, they have some kind of front-facing website for MLS feeds and IDX feeds. The other portions that we mentioned don't. So that's another thing you have to figure out is when you get your CRM, do you want it to have an actual website on the front that advertises your real estate business, your team, and also lets people search for houses? Or are you just looking for something to manage the contacts? Right?
Yeah.
Because Sierra has a really nice front-facing website, but because we use Ylopo, we don't even use Sierra's front-facing website. We have our own built out by Ylopo, and then Sierra just acts as a CRM. So for us, we're not even taking advantage of the front-facing website with Sierra, whereas Boomtown, they also have a nice front-facing website. Follow Up Boss has no website.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just a CRM.
Just following up.
But if you had something like Ylopo, then you could use Ylopo as the front-facing website and then Follow Up Boss as the back end. KV Core works as both, but to me, the website's not very pretty on the front end. So,
I'm glad you said that. I've always thought that. Sorry, KV Core, if you guys are listening. When I look at it, this is some real world feedback. I've just like never thought it was like that.
It's not intuitive. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the thing is, there's probably customization options that we never got into, and maybe you can do more with it. But it's something to figure out because you could have like an awesome website already. You could have a front-facing IDX website already. You may just need the CRM. But if you don't have any kind of forward-facing website, or you're just using like, let's say you're with like Keller Williams, and so you're just using like a portal with Keller Williams website search, like most of those aren't very intuitive either. When we were with Remax for 8 years, Remax, you actually had a front-facing agent portal, but it was like... I don't know what it was. It was like you couldn't actually set up a search for anybody really, and it was really ugly, and it was just like the most basic thing to put your name onto like an MLS feed.
It was just like your face.
Yeah, but we're trying to like get to conversion. So what's the best front-facing website?
Engaging and converting.
That's it. So that's the last thing you probably want to really look into is there a front-facing IDX website that's going to stream in houses so that you can actually go on Facebook and market your listings, so that you can market the website out to pick up leads, because ultimately you're doing this to not only track leads, but hopefully you're doing this to gain leads.
Yeah. And you might be like listening to this and just thinking, man, this is very granular, I guess, when it comes. But this is, when you think about this podcast, it's all about helping you build your business. And it's kind of like, if we don't tell you what are some of the fundamental steps, then what are we good for? And it's a huge one, because it just seems like more often we keep talking to agents and we're like, hey, so what CRM are you using? And like they hesitate. They're like, well, I was like, man, I'm like, that should be like the easiest answer. Like, oh, we use this, and why do you use it? Because it does this, and that. So too often people are like, I don't know. So that is a big one, because regardless of cost, you want something
100%
that's going to help you, because we can tell you how to generate leads, but if you don't know what to do with them or how to follow up on them, and we've had people that have come and gone off our team that they're like, oh, I got all these leads, but I haven't called any of them. I haven't followed up. I'm like, well, what's the point? Why do you have all these leads? You can't engage them. So
yeah,
this is very important.
All right. Anything else we need to cover in this? See, we did it all.
I love it, and we did it in a very manageable time. I love this topic because we're trying to help people. Mm-hmm. And we use these every day. I would love for you to use yours more often.
I'm the worst. I'm the team lead.
You know what your issue is? You've just got so much. It's like a fire hose, and we're trying to like manage. We're like, all right, so let's try to get this. So it's like
film a podcast, flip 5 houses, buy an apartment building, build 80 houses in Ohio. It's like,
I'm like, hey, Jared, did you enter the names into the thing in the computer?
Like, no.
Like, I have not done these things. In the year 2055. We'll have it all done.
I mean, like, even just the amount of leads, like, I'm not even on, like, the leads we buy. Let's say we spend, like, $10,000 or $15,000 a month on leads. I'm not even on those leads. They don't even come to me. and I'm out of it. But there's other lead sources where like the team lead is just like kind of the point man, and everything kind of flows through. And just those lead sources, some days I may get 12 that come through just to my phone where I have to accept it. And a lot of times I'm calling and I'm trying to relay it out. And if I trusted everybody else to actually take those calls and make sure that they got, converted to be one thing, but it's speed to lead. And I know like I'm going to grab this lead and I'm going to take it and I'm going to get it. But yeah, most of the time we've got a VA plugging in most of my stuff because I'm like,
we did that step.
So
I'm
I got a question.
I'm the worst.
Is there realtor groups out there like a doctor's office or like a big office where they have a call center because they have multiple offices or something like that?
It's called an ISA department, and yes, 100%. There are lots of real estate teams out there where the team agents aren't even really calling leads. They have an ISA, an in-house sales assistant that's calling everything, or department that calls everything. They set up all the appointments, and then the realtors go on them.
And so what level do you need to be at to even consider that? Because to me, it sounds like that would be a building department in itself.
It is. We have a breakdown of that we've got like a document that shows kind of building a team out and what steps and when to hire, and we could share that with you guys if anybody wants to reach out to us. But you also have to decide if that's the model you want your team to be in. So, from a production standpoint, I would imagine, someone could tell me if I'm wrong, but if you're doing less than 100 deals a year, I would think it's got to be kind of hard to have a full ISA department and pay for it realistically. But if you've got 4, 5, 6 agents on a team, I think you're starting to get to the point now where if they're on appointments and they're selling and their highest and best use is no longer necessarily sitting on the phones, then you could justify it. But for a lot of agents, their highest and best use is still prospecting in some way.
And we've talked about it, yeah.
If you had, say, 20 agents and, say, 10 of them are the, front runners or whatever, to me, that would be a no-brainer.
Well, and every team's different on how they set it up. Some people will put in an ISA, and essentially for the people that want to use it, they can pay a portion of their commission to these people to have that ISA paying for it. Sometimes it's a bonus from the team side. Sometimes they're on a salary. Sometimes they're on a bonus structure. It almost always makes sense to put them on some kind of reward structure for setting up appointments, or else they're not really motivated to make sure they're actually setting appointments.
Well, that's a commission-based, low salary type of position, I would think.
Most of the time, it's going to be some kind of salary and then bonuses on deals that actually close and go through. And then, again, who pays for that? It all depends. But, I've done the ISA thing before. There's different outside companies that do it. You can hire them directly. Sometimes they do virtual. Sometimes they do in person. There's a lot of different ways to do it. It's probably a podcast in itself, building out an ISA department. Like I said, we have the knowledge of it. We just don't do it right this second because a lot of our agents, they want to call leads and they want to prospect. If we ever get to the point where I feel like the agents don't want to call the leads, or some agents don't want to call the leads, but I also think if you gave them an ISA appointment, they also may not care. They also may not close that. So, at the end of the day,
it's less about, I think of it like this. It's less about calling and more about converting.
Exactly.
A dealership has, a mega, like when I worked, they had a dispatcher. Okay. So the service writer, write up the clients, dispatcher would take the jobs and disperse it out to all the techs and stuff like that who are best fit for that job and time-wise and stuff and more efficiency because it's so big or whatever.
At some point, it totally makes sense. It's really just a matter of, is your team ready yet? Do you want to put the salaries out? It is an overhead position, right? It is something that literally just costs money. They're not earning money directly.
Yeah.
But if that ISA can set more appointments than your agents would have set and cover the leads better, that's when you should start looking at it. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
I love it.
That's it, guys. If you have any questions on CRMs, if we can help you set up your Sierra, if you're looking into Sierra, we're happy to do that for you. We've got 3 or 4 teams that work with us that have set up Sierra under us so that we kind of help them get it started and get them on action plans and get all that good stuff. You're welcome to reach out to us. You can find me on Instagram _ the Davis Group. You can find Galen at
your realtor's favorite realtor, RVA.
There you go. This is another episode of Mega Real Estate Talk. Thanks for watching.
If you have a real estate question that you would like to ask Jared or Galen, reach out to them at jared@centralvarealty.com or Galen@centralvarealty.com. Who knows, it may even be featured on an upcoming episode.